Not so bad in yourself, Al? I think you're gonna see hopefully a lot of long runs. The guys who are starting off a little bit slower are gonna be coming to the front later on. It's big on tire save, so as long as you can keep hitting the seam through through 1 and 2 especially, you'll be fast in the long run. Yeah, so Trayton Lapsovich and myself started up Reaper SpeedLab. Obviously, you guys know that I was with Rocket for a little while, building their stuff, but ultimately, you know, it just wasn't for me. Not really the way I personally want to go about running a business. And you know, I still wanted to kind of help the community out because I mean, when I was first getting a start in iRacing and trying to figure out open setups, VRS was the baseline kind of that everybody had to work off of, but obviously they've kind of fallen off the mark to a really bad level, and I mean you can't go in and be competitive on their stuff anymore, and I just kind of want to bridge that gap and try to give people opportunity to come up and run top 5 and top 10 and top split and kind of give themselves at least make a name for themselves if they don't have a team, and I think we've done a really good job of that. Yeah, so Trayton and I are both based out of Canada, so we had to use a Canada address when we were setting up the website and the PayPal and all that. So basically, it's 1567 Canadian, yeah, but it's $12 is the highest price for a setup US that we sell. All of our short track stuff is $10 US. The A car stuff, just because it's always going to be at a very high level. Um, that's always going to be around $12, and then you know we do custom setups. So like for a league race like us, like next week I believe we're going to the fairgrounds. So if for example A Open wasn't going there, you could request a custom setup, and we'll get it to you. You know, $20 US, and you can go take care of winning in your leagues as well. Well, there's no cheat sheet yet. That is definitely in the works. For the time being, though, yes, I've had quite a few people message and just have certain feels they're looking for in a car, and that's the biggest thing with open setup racing. I mean, I personally like a loose car. I have a lot of guys on my team who prefer tight, so a little bit of a different kind of baseline is what they go with, or what they require. And so the same thing with Reaper. If as long as you send me some kind of feedback on a car, I can have an update out within probably an hour. Yes, sir. So it's Reaper SpeedLab on Facebook and ReaperSpeedLab.com. For the most part, I mean, my sleep schedules, I'm usually up late at night. Trayton's up early in the morning. So, I mean, as long as you shoot the page a message and you're after something, there's usually one of us there to take care of you right away.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight The bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Let's go back and find out exactly what caused that melee of madness. I told you, once we come off these turns, they get really loose. Really loose. It looks like Tanner Love has took his car to the garage, so Tanner Love might have been involved in that melee of craziness that went on here. And I'm trying to find the caution as we speak. It looks like the 24 Kenny Powell might have been involved in that. Oh, it looked like the 83 came down. Looks like the 83 car had came down on the 19. And that would be Craig Johnson. It came down and caught Justin Levine. It looks like maybe Craig had caught a little bit of that wall coming off that turn. Lost his rear end a little bit and just came right down. And when the 19 went around, he caught a whole bunch of drivers up in that. We've got the 20 involved in that, the 24, the 14. We have got about half the field involved in that. We've got the 10, the 36, or the 96, the 95. 78 caught a little bit of that. 14. 20. I mean, we've got a melee of mess here. We've taken and shortened this race up quite a bit by a bunch of drivers here. We're probably got, my guess, maybe about 12, 13 cars that do not have damage. And it looks like Jeffrey Smith, during that wreck, or after that wreck, he came back. I don't know if it was a retaliation or what it was, but he came and he just pile drove right into the 24 of Kenny Powell. So that's probably going to be a little bit of a call to the big house here when we get done with this race. I mean, somebody's going to the trailer after this race. I guarantee you that. I don't know what that was, if that was a retaliation thing, or maybe he just thought that Kenny did something, or maybe he just didn't have the brakes. I don't know what happened there. And nonetheless, it took out a bunch of competitive drivers. I mean, we've got roughly, we got 5 cars at least that are in the pits trying to get some repairs. Tanner Love took his car to the garage, and it does look like Curtis Soares did the same. So we have 2 drivers who have called it a night already at lap 2. But that might even have been the finish of lap 1. We might not even have came around for lap 1. These drivers will calm it down a little bit. If they don't calm it down, we'll only have about 5 cars left finishing this race on the lead lap. They need to finish this race clean. Every bit of body damage they get is taking seconds off their lap time. Looks like we have a newcomer, Jack Anthony Durham, in the 27 machine. He's just coming off of pit road. Welcome, Jack Durham. We got David Gervais is coming on pit road. So is James Mullins in the 6 machine. They were involved in that. I don't know if David Gervais was, but I do know that James Mullins caught a little bit of that action. The big beneficiary in that whole thing is that 12 car of Michael Doyle, who started quite a bit in the back there. He's managed to avoid that melee of craziness, and he got himself up into the top 15 there. Clifton Cockrell and the 16 machines just coming off pit road. I don't know if that was he was involved in that, or he just stopped to get some fuel. Maybe he thought that half a lap he put in there, he needed to top it off, but he's coming off pit road right now, and it does look like Justin Levine and Jeffrey Smith have called it a night. So we have got 4 cars, 3 cars already, and 4 cars already have called it a night. So that takes this field of 28 drivers down to 24. And roughly about 4 more of those cars are down on power, or they have damage, which is going to hinder their ability to do much of anything. And as we go green again, we'll go back to the front of the field. And we've got John Mullins has got a tremendous lead right there. And it looks like Boyd Hogan is coming out in that Reaper SpeedLabs. He wants to take the lead. He's in the inside of John Mullins, and he's going to, well, I thought he was going to clear him on that pass around, but he didn't do it. He's going to get him on this next corner here, and he clearly clears him. You'll see a lot of the drivers are going to, these guys are going to back it off in these turns just to plant the front end of that car so it'll turn better. If they go on this full throttle, the car is just going to push right into the wall. There's not absolutely anything they can do. Let's watch and see second place in the points championship right now, Tyler Pluff, as he works his way through the field in that 21 machine. He is right now fighting with Michael Eames in that 3 machine, and it does look like the 95 is trying to bring himself through there. That is Dalton Collins. Dalton started a little bit towards the back of the field here in 14th. He's already moved himself up and fighting for 6th position. We've got the 90 right behind them of Ron Hollyfield is fighting with the 78 of Christopher Hill. And looks like the 78 is going to get right. He's going to do a crossover to the inside, and he's trying to get past Tyler Pluff, as he does make it past Tyler Pluff, and he takes the 6th position away, or the 5th away from Tyler. And he is following right behind Dalton Collins. Christopher Hill in that 78 machine. Looks like he's going to try to battle and go to the inside of that 95. As Dalton Collins goes to the high side around Michael Eames. 78. Christopher Hill, he follows right behind him. You guys are making this high line look like it's working. That's a good thing. Meanwhile, quietly, patiently waiting back there is a 68 of Michael Knight in the 9th position, and Wayne Grassi in a 7 machine in the 10th position, and they're both kind of waiting to pick and choose the right time to make their pass here. Patience is going to help them a lot in this race. If they can just keep their pacer pants on, they don't have to worry about being on the back of a wrecker. Let's watch the battle between the 48 of Chris Johnson and the 21 of Rob Pendleton. Or the 31 of Rob Pendleton, and this is for 11th and 12th. It looks like Chris Johnson's running a new paint scheme tonight with an AT&T, like an orange and black. Maybe that's a Halloween traditional paint scheme there for him. And we still have a great battle going on up here. And it does look like Wayne Grassi has passed Michael Knight. Michael Knight conceded and gave him the win. And we've got James Mullins and Cecil Keith here back in 13th and 14th. James Mullins is going to the inside of Cecil Keith, and he will easily get around him. So right now, presently, we have 22 drivers in this race that are not a lap down. Boyd Hogan has pulled off the lead of a good 1 second gap between him and John Mullins II. Mark Love is an additional 0.2 of a second behind them. It looks like maybe Mark in that 30 car is just kind of slowing it down a little bit, taking his time, preserving his tires, and not abusing them. John Mullins might be doing the same thing, and I guarantee you that leader you see up front, Boyd Hogan, is definitely preserving his tires. As everybody kind of settles in, we're going to go through the field and kind of see if we have any battles. We've got the 78 of Christopher Hill. He is coming to the inside of the, looks like it's a 30 machine there, of Mark Love, as Dalton Collins makes his way around the 30 as well, and he moves into 4th, and Chris moves his way into 5th. Mark Love he can settle down and just patiently ride there right behind those guys and save himself a top 5. He can finish it right now. But Tyler Pluff is not moving himself up any faster. He may have gotten the wrong setup on this. And behind them, we've got Wayne Grassi in the 7 is battling the 3 car of Mike Eames. We've got Wayne Grassi is getting the inside with that Pennzoil machine. He's patiently waiting to see if he can put enough pressure on Mike Eames. Sometimes that's all you need to do is put enough pressure on him to where he gets a little pushy and feels like he's going to go into the wall, and he may back it off, as he does. Wayne Grassi takes the 7th position away from the 3 car of Mike Eames. And behind them, the battle is between the 68 and the 48. That is Chris Johnson and Mike Knight. As it looks like they're Chris Johnson's on the inside, Michael Knight's on the outside, and Chris Johnson clearly passes them, opening a door for Ron Hollyfield in the 90 car to come in there and see if he may be able to take that position away from Michael Knight. We're watching a lot of high line passes here, and it does look like Ron Hollyfield is getting pretty aggressive, but he has got James Mullins on his inside, so I don't know if he's trying to keep James there. James is not giving him an inch. He's pushing him right up in there so he can make the pass clean. Chris Johnson looks like he's going to take a peek to the inside of Michael Eames in that 3 machine. Chris Johnson in the 48. He's going to ride there for a minute, and if he does the same thing here, it looks like, yep, Michael Eames in that 3 machine, he gives it to Chris as well. You don't want to fight with a driver that's in the inside of you and you're on the high side. All that's going to do is make your car push, and that wall comes real quick. And all it takes is one slide into that wall for your race to be ruined. These walls are not forgiving. And as we do that, it looks like James Mullins, he's worked his way past the 3 machine of Mike Eames to move himself up into, looks like James Mullins moved himself up in the top 10. Biggest move of the race right now is going to be Wayne Grossi in that 7 machine, who started 22nd, and he has worked himself all the way up into 7th. Rob Pendleton in the 31 machine is in the inside of the 3 of Mike Eames, and I don't know if Mike is handing these positions away as early Christmas presents or what's going on here, but he keeps on backing the brake off on that thing and letting these guys pass. He let 2 of them pass. He let Larry Reed and Rob Pendleton pass. So Mike Eames is slowly working himself to the back of the field here on lap 19. Meanwhile, up front, it looks like Boyd Hogan's kind of put himself out there on a Sunday drive. He's a 2nd and a half in front of 2nd place, Christopher Hill, who's worked himself up into 2nd, all the way from 15th. 3rd place is Dalton Counts, who started in the 14th position. And back in the 4th, who started on the pole was John Mullins. He's just kind of staying up there and putting himself a little bit of a distance between him and Mark Love. So if John can just basically save his tires, I almost can guarantee that Mark Love and Tyler Clough are going to be back there fighting for a position together. And all it's going to do is open more of a gap. And when I say that, here comes Wayne Grossi in that 7 machine, sneaking on the inside of Tyler Clough. We might see, folks, tonight, you'll watch that inside line, that driver will get right to the driver's side rear corner of an outside line car, and he may slightly push up and spin that guy out if he's battling too much and won't let him get past him. Because you eat up your tires a whole lot more on that inside line than you do that outside line. As we watch the 21 machine come around the 30 machine there, it looks like Mark Love said, go ahead, Tyler, you're a little faster. I'm going to follow you around there. Those guys might be teammates. They both have this little, looks like an eagle under hood, so they both might be teammates there. And they figure maybe Tyler Clough is a little bit faster than Mark at this moment. So Mark's like, we're going to get up there and I'll follow you through this field. But they have a little bit of time there. Tyler is slowly closing in on John Mullins, but not very much. Meanwhile, it looks like maybe Christopher Hill in that 78 machine, he might have something for our race leader Boyd Hogan, because he is slowly closing up that gap. It's down to, well, it was down to 1.5 seconds. Now it's back up to 1.6 seconds. So maybe I spoke a little too soon there, maybe cursed him. We've got, here comes Wayne Grossi in that 7 machine. He went to the inside of the 30 machine of Mark Love. If he doesn't watch it, be careful. Mark Love might show him a little love to offend him here. I do not think Mark Love is going to concede that position. He is not going to give it to him. He's not Mike Eames. But Wayne Grossi does pull through that, and then he ends up taking 6th place away. And Wayne Grossi in the 7 machine moved up in 6th place now. And he is working on the 31 machine, or excuse me, the 21 machine of Tyler Clough. And here comes the 6th machine, James Mullins. He's on the bumper, right on the bumper, that 7 machine of Wayne Grossi. And it looks like James Mullins is going to go to the inside, and you will see Wayne Grossi is going to allow him to get that position, because like I said, if you're on that high line, you do not want to race the guys on the low line. You take a chance of them pushing up into you, or you getting really loose and pushing, or getting really pushy and push up into the wall. So let's take a ride with James Mullins to see how he does getting past Tyler Clough in that 21 machine, as Tyler is fighting with John Mullins on the inside. It looks like James Mullins is going to get right on his bumper and then cut down and take the inside line. He might get a twofer here. James Mullins might take out not only John Mullins but Tyler Clough, and he almost does it. In one turn, he almost gets 2 positions. Following right behind him is Wayne Grossi. He's going to follow exactly what James is doing as he comes to the inside of that 21 machine of Tyler Clough. And they are 3 wide coming out of turn 2. And they pull it off. That's some good driving there, folks. This is some professionals. We watch a 30 machine of Mark Love. He thought about getting underneath his teammate right there, that Tyler Clough in that 21. And I say they're teammates. They may not be. They might just both like birds. Meanwhile, James Mullins says adios, amigos, as he just peels away. And he's trying to catch the 78 machine of Christopher Hill, who was in 2nd place moments ago. but he lost that second place to Dalton Collins, who is found some speed. Dalton Collins might have been playing possum back there because he is 1.2 seconds behind our leader, Boyd Hogan. And he is keeping it consistent. No, he's 1/10. He's 1/10 faster, so he is trying to get up there to Boyd Hogan. Dalton Collins wants to lead this race at Homestead. Let's see if we can get any action towards the back of this pack here. See if we got anybody battling around. Looks like we got a little battling going on for 9th and 10th. Looks like 20 car of Larry Reed is coming up to the inside of Chris Johnson, and he takes that position away from Chris. Chris is going to let him have it. He really don't want to fight him for that. Let's go back even further and see how Mike Eames has settled himself into the 12th position. Well, he's got the... Oh, and we've got somebody hit the wall up here. That looks like that might be the 68 machine of Michael Knight. That's what I mean. If you push this car a little bit too much, it will push back. Typically, it pushes you right up against the wall. That's exactly what we just seen out of the 68 machine. You'll watch that 68 machine will start dropping like he's got a boat anchor hooked to the back of that hot rod. Let's take and watch him. He better slow it down. He's going to push a little bit more. We've got some looseness going on there. James Mullins is in a heated battle right now with the 30 machine of Mark Love. That 64 machine, the 30 machine of Mark Love goes to the inside, and it does look like John Mullins might have used his tires up. Now, the pit strategy here is going to be kind of weird. They've got 4 sets of tires, and some of these drivers will probably stay out to around lap 60, 65-ish, depending on how well they're taking care of their fuel mileage on this deal here. But I bet you we'll see Boyd Hogan and probably even Dalton Collins. Oh, there is a caution. So that throws caution to the wind. We're going to see some pit stops. Let's find out what happened here. Go to the back. I'm going to assume this is somewhere towards the back of the field here. I'm not seeing it quite yet. It looks like Rob Pendleton and Michael Knight might have been involved in that incident, and they both called it a night, so it might have been a quick wreck, and they just went ahead and called it a night. So let's go back and see what happened. What brought that out? Typically, when they leave like that, it's when they've been involved in a wreck, and they just, they'd rather say adios and say something bad. It looks like the 68 machine of Michael Knight is exactly like I told you before. He got loose, and it just went right into the wall. And when he did that, he had, let's see why Rob Pendleton had disconnected. Let's see exactly what's going on here. All right, well, we got this caution. Let's go ahead and pause for a commercial. Welcome back. We're took a little short break there to kind of see if we can figure out everything that's going on. It looks like we had some pit stops that went on during the caution. Kind of switched things around a little bit. James Mullins. It doesn't look like James. I don't know if he pitted or not. Yeah, I think he might have, but he came out with the race lead there. Boyd Hogan moved himself from the lead back into 5th. Tyler Pluff moved himself up into 4th. Dalton Collins and Christopher Hill, they're kind of staying in that 2nd and 3rd. Wayne Grassi came back out in 6th. Mark Love in 7th. John Mullins, the 64 machine, came back out in 8th. Chris Johnson 9th. And it looks like Ron Hollyfield is in the top 10. And presently we only have 20 cars on the lead lap. That last caution involved Michael Knight, which we could almost see it happening. So I think Mike he's back on the track here. No, he has called it a night. So the last car on the lead lap is the 43 machine of Paul Olson. And he is behind the 16 of Clifton Cockrell, who is pitting again. I don't know if Clifton got involved in that. Clifton does look like he has a little bit of rear end damage there. James Calabali in the 17 is in the back of the field, starting in 18th. We have got that new leader, and that is the 6 machine of James Mullins. James the Machine Mullins in that 6 machine. He's going to pick the high line, it looks like, and he's going to let Christopher Hill take the low line. Looks like Dalton Collins is going to start behind the 6 machine of James Mullins. At high line, for me, I never really liked the high line there. I like to start in the low line, but it looks like these guys can drive high or low. It doesn't matter where they go. We're getting ready to go green again. And let's watch this action. See if James can get a good jump. It looks like he gets a good leap there, and he gets in front of that 78 of Christopher Hill. He's going to run that midline. He doesn't want to run the low line. Coming in this turn, it looks like the 95 is going to battle with Christopher Hill. So it kind of looks like Christopher Hill is going to prevail. Boyd Hogan, he got right on top of the 21 machine and got him extremely loose. I thought Tyler Pluff was going around. I don't know how Tyler held that together, but we have a battle for the lead. It looks like Dalton Collins is going to the high side of James Mullins, while the 78 machine of Christopher Hill is on the low side. We might have a three-way battle for the lead. No, James Mullins has conceded and gave it to the 78 machine. He fell back. I have no idea what's going on with James. James might have made some pit stop strategy on that last pit stop that didn't work for him. So now we have a new leader. It's going to be Dalton Collins in that 95 machine. Second place is going to be the 78 of, looks like that is Christopher Hill. And Christopher Hill wants to take the lead. He's sick of riding back there behind these guys, and he gets on the inside, and he's going to battle, but he pushes a little bit and gets a little squirrely, and that gives a benefit to Dalton Collins in that 95 machine on the high side. He is got him cleared. 78 machine, Christopher Hill just tucks right back in the inside of him. And there comes the 64 of John Mullins on those fresh tires. He's feeling lucky. He's going to go to the high side of Boyd Hogan in that 81 machine and see if he can make it stick. But mark my words, folks, what Boyd Hogan's doing right now is he's playing possum. He might have used up a lot of his tires. Maybe he's seen his tires on the pit stop and thought, I don't need to race that hard until the very end. And we've got plenty of laps to go. We've got almost 100 laps left of this race. So he may be preserving his tires. James Mullins, I don't know if he made some pit stop strategy changes or some adjustments that are not agreeing with him, but he's dropping back. Remember, James Mullins started in the back of this, or somewhat towards the middle of this field, I guess. He's got the leader. Started in 14th. Second place started in 15th. And James Mullins he started 13th, and he's in 3rd. But he's going to about to lose 3rd to John Mullins in that 64 machine, who's got the high side. and I haven't seen this work, as here we go. A new race leader for a millisecond is Christopher Hill. Dalton Collins says, I'll let you have it for a minute. You enjoyed it. When at one turn, I'm taking it back. So these guys are going to abuse their tires, because here comes Christopher Hill on the inside. He wants the lead back. When you have this kind of a leapfrog effect, they're using up their tires. And this is exactly what James Mullins, John Mullins, and Boyd Hogan want to see. They want to see those two battling it out for the lead, because they're abusing their tires, and they're going to be easier to pass here in about 15 laps. So you watch how the 64 machine, if he preserves his tires and doesn't fight with James Mullins in the 6 too much, he will easily be able to pass first place Christopher Hill and second place Dalton Collins once their tires, well, they kind of calm it down. They may have been listening to the broadcast here, and they may have thought, yeah, you're right, we want to calm it down. As they did. The leaders have calmed it down a little bit, as Christopher Hill has taken the lead with not even a half a second gap between him and second place of the 95 machine of Dalton Collins. Meanwhile, let's walk through the back of the field here and see if we can see anything going on. We got Cecil Keith in the inside of the 17 of James Calabali, trying to get that position away. They're fighting for 14th and 15th. See what's going on with the 65 machine of Jaden Profit's just kind of relaxing as he watches the 33 machine get around the inside of James Calabali. He's just kind of staying back here. Let's watch our newcomer here for a second. This 27 machine of Jack Durham. He's a newcomer tonight. He's new to the series, the iRacing Stock Car Association. He is a good friend of ours, and we have been racing for about a year together. And I'm not surprised to see Jack is kind of sitting in the back. This is his MO. He'll sit in the back until it's time to go. To let everybody get their racing on and see what kind of damage they can put on their cars, and that's when he starts moving it on up. So I expect to see Jack somewhere in the top 10, probably, I'd almost say probably about another 60, 70 laps. He's going to wait for about 20 laps to go, and he's going to start moving his way up. I just think did I hear that Jack Durham said he's pitting in? No, I couldn't have. No, he's on the ends. He's coming to the inside of the 17 at James Calabali here. I thought maybe he was pitting in. Meanwhile, we go back up front. We got Boyd Hogan. He's kind of patiently just riding around there. John Mullins, a little bit of battle between James Mullins. And just in case anybody's wondering, James and John, to my best knowledge, are not related. They just so happen to have the same last name. Wayne Grossi in that sub machine, he's moving himself back up a little bit here. And right presently, James is our biggest mover of the race here. He has moved himself up 16 positions in that sub machine. All the way up into 6th position. Let's take a second and let's see who we can. Let's take a ride along. Let's take a ride along with second place Christopher Hill in that 78 machine and kind of see what he's seeing out of his mirror in front of Dalton Collins. Let's go in car with 78 Christopher Hill. As we're riding in the in-car, you can watch. I always like to watch that center tape on the steering wheel to kind of see, even on the front stretch, it is a little bit turned to the left. And that's a steering offset. That's a preference that the drivers like, so they don't really have to turn the wheel that much. As you don't see, that tape is moving a lot in these turns to the left. You'll see it moving a little bit to the right, as they try to, chase the rear end up a little bit there. Around these turns, you do watch at the RPMs as it drops down to roughly about 7,400 and then goes right back up over 8,000. It'll get up to probably about 9,000 before we get to turn 1 and 2. Should see about a red here. Well, no, he doesn't get it into the red. but he backs it off a little bit. You see the shaking in the steering wheel, and yeah, he's loose. Christopher Hill is loose. We've got a lap car coming up here that Dalton Collins is going to have to manage. Let's stay in car with Chris, and let's watch as Dalton gets around him. And I think if we stay in this car a little bit longer, we may see some fast left and right turns of that steering wheel of Christopher Hill. Dalton Collins has got to get past this lap car. Looks like he's going to go to the outside. That lap car traffic is going to stay to the inside. Now Dalton Collins got really close. He's probably trying to side draft and get a little speed off of him. We watch as Christopher Hill easily gets around him. Now we've taken a chance to ride along with Christopher Hill. Let's take a ride with third place Boyd Hogan and see if his driving looks a little bit different. We'll go in-car camera with the 81 machine of Boyd Hogan. A little bit similar here, you know, the back and forth, a little seesaw on the wheel there. Boy, we'll watch Boyd's RPMs. If they get it up into the 9,000s there, it'll turn red on those RPMs, but he doesn't get it there. But there's a little back and forth action going on. This is not a track you really can be too smooth in these corners. You got to back it off going into the turn just to plant the car. And that's just getting the front end to kind of stick so you can turn without abusing your tires. If Boyd Hogan was to go full throttle all the way through here, what we would see, we would see Boyd Hogan strictly go right into the wall. His front tires would get no grip. The rear tires would just kind of be spinning like crazy, getting a lot of grip, and the fronts wouldn't get any traction, and he'd push them right into the wall. That's why they're backing off in these turns. But it does look like Boyd Hogan is kind of a little bit loose there. But I know Boyd, he loves that loose car feeling. You never see that gray right there, that Boyd's getting under that gray line that's down there by the white line. You'll rarely see a driver get down into that. That right down there is hardly any grip, and that will get you really, really loose. All right, now we got a chance to ride around Mr. Boyd Hogan. Let's take a ride around this track with the 6th car of James Mullins. See how he's driving this thing. James is a little bit more reserved. He's not got as much seesawing going on inside this car here. It does look like he's maybe pushing a little bit to the front. He's a little bit of right to left seesawing, but he's not got as much movement of the hands as we watch the other two drivers. So he's a little bit more comfortable, but he also is not battling for a second place up there like Boyd Hogan is. And it looks like James Mullins, he really lets off that gas. He almost gives it zero gas compared to Boyd Hogan, who was still at about 20%, you know, gas pedal going around these turns. And what that might be doing for James is it might be helping him save those front tires a little bit. As you can watch, he's closing up the gap. This is the best first, second, third, fourth we've had all evening so far. There's less than a second between the leader and 4th place. These guys are really close together. And all it would take is a little bit of drafting help from one of these drivers up here to spin somebody around. They don't necessarily have to touch each other. They just have to get close enough to make the wind feel like they are. And somebody's going around. All right, let's go back out here and let's watch this race and see. We'll call a far chase and we'll go back through the field. We have 19 drivers. As the last car that was just passed, that was the 16 machine of Clifton Cockrell. So the last car on the lead lap right now is the 43 machine of Paul Olson, and he is in 19th position. It looks like Jack Durham's kind of moved himself up there in the 16th position. Let's see how far we have. Before, we've got about 15 seconds before Dalton Collins catches the last car on the lead lap right now. And the good thing about Homestead is if you keep a consistent pace as the leaders, your tire fall off and you drive similar and you don't abuse your tires, the tire fall off will be the same, if not less, for let's say Paul Olson in the back of the field than it will be for Dalton Collins in the front of the field, because Dalton is trying to stay in the lead, and Paul is not really concerned about Dalton catching him, so he's preserving his tires. And as they preserve their tires, it gives an opportunity for the gap to stay consistent between Paul Olson and Dalton Collins. Now, if Paul thought to himself, oh no, here comes the leader, I better speed this up, he'll start abusing his tires, and it'll give the opportunity for the possibility of losing control of your race car, or eating up the tires and maybe pushing into the wall. So I can imagine right now Paul Olson's thinking to himself, I'm just going to take it easy and ride this thing out and save my tires, because I don't know what these other guys doing in front of me, if they're abusing their equipment or they're racing each other hard to get positions, and they may wreck out. This could be, it's not necessarily a fuel mileage game with this track. However, some drivers will try to make it a fuel mileage game. Go back here and see if we've got any close racing. Got the 3 machine. He's coming to the inside of a lap car of Kenny Powell, that 24 machine, who was caught up in an earlier wreck. Kenny really doesn't have luck when it comes to this league this season. It seems like every time he turns around, he is the victim of a wreck. It's pretty sickening, and someday I think he probably should paint targets all over his car, because it does seem like no matter what, his car is a magnet, and it pulls cars into him and creates accidents. In front of David Gervais in his 5 machine, we've got a good battle going on between Chris Johnson, Ron Hollyfield, Mark Love, and John Mullins. Those guys are pretty close together. About as close as our leaders are, the first 3-4. As we watch, it does look like Mark Love is going to the inside of the 64 machine, and he clears him. So John Mullins moves back and gives Mark Love that position. Or is he going to give it to him for long? He's right on his bumper. He is trying to get him loose, trying to get Mark Love loose. It didn't work for him. All it did was create a little bit more problems for him. So calm it down there, John. You're going to end up meeting the wall by accident if you keep on that. Gave the opportunity for John's little action there for Ron Hollyfield, that 90 machine, to catch up. And again, we're seeing a little bird on Ron Hollyfield's hood there. I don't know if he's on the same team as we seen earlier. I think it was Tyler Pluff. Yeah, Tyler Pluff's got the little bird on his hood there. We got Mark Love's got the little bird. We might have either a bunch of bird lovers, or we've got a race team. I think I'm seeing on the back of Mark Love, it looks like it's Phoenix. So that might be a bird thing. It might be Phoenix. So those guys might all be teammates. Let's see if Tyler Pluff. Yeah, Tyler Pluff. It's all Phoenix. Phoenix Motorsports or Phoenix Raceway. I don't know how it is. It's Phoenix something. I can't clearly see it, but I do know I see Phoenix. And that's the 21 machine of Tyler Pluff, the 30 of Mark Love. And it looks like we've got Ron Hollyfield. I don't know if anybody else in the field is with Phoenix, but those 3 drivers definitely have on their back bumpers Phoenix. So Dalton Collins, Christopher Hill is kind of closing up on him a little bit more, and so is Boyd Hogan staying right with him, and James Mullins. They're all just kind of muscling together and just waiting it out patiently, taking care of their tires, because we have a long race. We're not even halfway through this race yet. We're 66 laps into 134. We might be coming 65. Yeah, we're at about 60, about 1, 2, 3, about 4 more laps, maybe right around about lap 67, 68. That's when we'll be halfway. If we go green, the last time we pitted, let's see, was roughly about 34 laps ago. So if we go green, we'll see another pit stop right around lap 100. And that's going to put these guys in a window where they can finish the race. Technically, if we go 20 more laps and these guys pit at lap 80, 87, anytime after that, they can make it to the end of the race on fuel. Looks like Boyd Hogan is run He's running the faster laps out of his top three. He's ran a 33-137. Boyd Hogan has. The 78 machine of Christopher Hill ran a 33-199, and the leaders ran a 33-249. Now you may think to yourself, well, how in the world is Dalton Collins running a 33-249 and he is in the lead when second and third is faster? Well, second and third are faster because Dalton Collins is pulling them. They're kind of like the parachute. That's what Christopher Hill and Boyd Hogan are to Dalton Collins. They're his parachute. They're kind of holding him back. So they're getting the draft where they're getting the speed off of him. And I have no idea why they haven't used this speed to get up there and pass him, but maybe I think they're got a fuel mileage game. You know, Boyd Hogan's been known to pull the fuel mileage out of his hat. He may be just sitting back there and kind of letting the cars in front of him pull him along, and he's barely using any fuel. So he may take his last pit stop out as far as he can. Let's go back to the back of the field here and see what else we got going on here. Mark Love's kind of settled in there, so it's Ron Hollyfield, Chris Johnson. He's just battling around with John Mullins, David Gervais. Slowly, David Gervais, he kind of started out there in 20th, and he's moved himself up into 12th. He's been a silent attacker. David might be another one of those that's just kind of sitting back here, trying to figure out what everybody's going to do, stay out of the way, and move himself up when he sees the right opportunity. Michael Eames, who started this race in the 3rd position, he's dropped himself back into the 13th position. So he might not have the right setup underneath that machine of his. He's dropping like a piece of lead here. We got the 65 of Jaden Profit. He's battling with Cecil Keith. Cecil Keith, I always like that Bud Light car he's got. It's a pretty sharp car. But when we look at this situation we got right now, we have a 33 of Cecil Keith in the Bud Light. He's trying to be in front of and beat the Coors Light machine of Jaden Profit. So we got two beers fighting against each other to see who's the better beer here. And it looks like Bud Light is leaving. He looks like he's leaving that Coors Light back in the dust there. He's not going to let him pass. But Coors Light, he's going to sneak on the inside. He wants to give Cecil Keith what they call a hangover. But he's going to give him a hang under, and he better hang on to it when he goes underneath there, because if he does something wrong and pushes up, that Bud Light machine of Cecil Keith is not going to be forgiven. But it does look like Coors machine kind of brings himself around, and he is passed. Meanwhile, the non-alcoholic beverage machine of the 27 of Jack Durham and that Mountain Dew, he's slowly just riding himself around towards the back of this field. He's about 6 seconds behind Cecil Keith, and he's roughly got a good cushion between him and the car behind him. There's about 2 seconds. About 6 seconds in front of him and 2 seconds behind him. So he's not trying to make any big waves coming into iRacing Stock Car Association. He's just saying, hey guys, I'm here. I'm going to do what I can do, and I'm going to stay out of your way. We welcome you, Jack, and look forward to seeing you more at the track. See what James Cullaball is back here doing. He's kind of doing the same thing Jack's doing. Michael Doyle doing the same thing in that 12 machine, kind of patiently waiting. Paul Olson, last car on the lead lap, he is also doing that. Kind of, I don't know if it's Paul's paint scheme or if Paul's got a little bit of rear end damage. He may not have a choice but to ride in the back. Meanwhile, to the front, still the same song, different lap. Dalton Collins in the 95 machine. He's trying to stay in front of the 78, Christopher Hill, while Boyd Hogan slowly creeping back there like a shark waiting to attack. It does look like Boyd might have made some changes on that last pit stop, and those changes aren't agreeing with him. He's getting a little loose coming off those corners. But Boyd does like a loose setup, so he takes a good tight setup and he makes it loose because that's the way he likes to drive. So when you may think that Boyd's going to lose control and spin this thing out, he's not going to do that. It's going to take somebody to assist him in doing that. So you folks watching, remember Boyd Hogan was Reaper SpeedLab, our sponsor of the race tonight. If you're watching and you're thinking, oh, his setups are exactly what you're watching right now, you're probably wrong. Boyd, it's probably just as fast, but Boyd likes to loosen his up a little bit. So he may, you know, add a little bit of front camber to that, or take away front caster. He might move a little bit of the cross weights around. He might make a bunch of changes on that car to make it looser. But guarantee when you get it set up from ReaperSpeedLab.com, you're going to be up there running like Boyd is. Let's take a ride here and let's look and see what Christopher Hill as they're passing some lap cars here. And kudos to the lap traffic for being courteous and letting these guys by without racing them too much. They know that some of these guys are up there racing for points champion. Boyd Hogan, right now our points champion leader. He's in third position. Tyler Pluff is second to our championship. He's riding back there in sixth. You know, so those guys, all they're doing is just trying to put more of a cushion between third, fourth, and fifth in the championship points. Here comes another lap car, or no, that could very well be Paul Olson. And that is Paul Olson. He kind of pulls to the inside line and lets the leaders pass, so he might have some problems. That takes Paul off the lead lap, leaving the next car on the lead lap to be the 8. It's like the 12 machine of Michael Doyle. We should start seeing pit stops in about 20 laps. 20 laps or so, we should start seeing pit stops. We might see them right now. If they pit, they can make it to the end of the race. Any driver that pits right now can make it to the end of the race on fuel. So we may see some takers on this deal. We may see some folks saying, okay, I'm going into the pits right now. I need some fresh tires. I'm sticking manhandling this thing. Because they're running on 48 lap tires right now. But whoever pits now, they have to do about 53, 54 more laps. And if they can't handle a car on 48 lap tires, like John Mullins just came on the pit road in the 64 machine, he must have thought, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take it to the end. He comes on pit road. Kenny Powell, he's also on pit road. Kenny Powell in that 24 machine. Let's watch John Mullins, he's going to take all 4 tires and full tank of fuel. Now he's going to come out on fresh tires. And let's keep an eye on John Mullins right now. We're going to see how much of an advantage these fresh tires are. John Mullins is going to come out roughly somewhere around, probably, I'm going to guess, 18th maybe. Yeah, he comes a lap down. Okay, so he's 18th. He's on fresh tires. Okay, all John has to do is get past 78 machine of Christopher Hill. And with those fresh tires, if he preserves them just right, he should be able to make a round. See if we have any other takers coming in. It looks like Michael Doyle, the 12 machine. Michael Doyle is going to come in. So these guys are all thinking to themselves, we can make it to the end. We need some fresh tires. We're going to do it. But let's watch the 64 machine as he just makes it look like Cecil Keith in that 33 is just sitting still. He almost makes it look like Cecil Keith has got his car in reverse instead of drive. Let's see the lap times as John Mullins comes across the line compared to the leaders. John Mullins is running a 31.5, and the leader last time by was 33.2. So he is almost 2 seconds faster. So 2 seconds faster, it's going to take him roughly about 10 laps, and he should be able to get in front of the leader as he comes blistering past the, the 65 machine. And that's Jaden Profit. And it looks like we have another driver on, Larry Reed. Larry Reed's pitted. Cecil Keith's pitted. We got, don't think Ron Hollyfield. Jack Durham, I think, is not pitted yet. He's going to be one of those comers. Like I said, he's going to stay out there. But let's watch All John Mullins has to do is he has to get past, he just got past Cecil Keith, okay? He needs to get past the 3 machine of Mike Eames, 17 machine of James Culabali. And once he gets past the 17 machine of James Culabali, he is the last car a lap down, or the first car a lap down, sorry. So in the event of a caution, he will get what's called a waiver round to be back on the lead lap. However, that's going to give an opportunity for whoever is on old tires to be able to pit. Now presently, everybody from the leader all the way back to Mike Eames in the 14th position are on old tires, 54 plus lap tires. Now Clifton Cockrell is also on, he's in, what is Clifton back there, 2 laps down. Clifton might have some damage. Let's watch how John Mullins just eats through this field like these guys are barely even going anywhere. He's passing a 30 machine of Mark Love. He's moving himself up, and he's going to pass David Gervais, and David Gervais is in 7th position. He passes him like he's not even there. And David Gervais is about 15 seconds behind the leader. So in order for John Mullins to be able to get past the leader, he has to do about 16 laps at the current speed he's at right now. 16 laps, we're going to see the leader's pit, which means that John Mullins is going to be in 22 lap older tires than the race leader. Then the roles reversed. Then everybody who pits at lap right on 100, they're going to be on fresher tires than John. And they have an opportunity to eat through the field like you're watching the 64 machine do right now as he just came past the 21 of Tyler Plough. So it does look like, in the meantime, we've closed up that gap pretty close with the leaders, with Christopher Hill, Dalton, Collins, and Boyd Hogan. Now Boyd has fell back a little bit. I don't know if Boyd is preserving his tires or if this is a strategy where he's thinking to himself, I'm going to save my fuel. I'm not going to pit to about lap 110. I'm going to push my luck and see what happens. Let these guys in front of me use up their equipment, and I'm going to stay out and hope for a caution. Because the more closer we get to lap 134, the more aggressive these drivers are going to get. And we very well much could see some wrecks. I've got some chatter going on that we may see the 21 machine of Tyler Plough coming on pit road. Let's take a look on how he gets on pit road. If he gets on there pretty clean, he comes in, he locks him down. No, he doesn't lock him down. That's a really good slow down there for Mr. Tyler Plough as he gets on pit road. That's a very good pit road entrance. Let's watch how he gets into his pit. Make sure he's not speeding. He's keeping about that 50 mile an hour speed limit, so he's doing real well there. And he hits his marks. No, he got to back up. He's a little bit of parallel parking. We had somebody else coming in front of him, and that would be James Culabali. Mark Love and Tyler Plough, teammates, Phoenix Bird guys. All right, let's watch them. They come off pit road. And we've still got a handful of drivers out there that are sitting on 59 to 60 lap tires. Wayne Grossi, he's sitting on 60 lap tires. And I'm seeing that Wayne Grossi, he's got some chatter. I just heard his in-car radio. He says he is going to pit this time by. We're going to see 3 or 4 of them pitting this time. I think Chris Johnson's going to pit this time. We definitely seen that Chris has pitted. So now we watch Wayne Grossi as he comes by. Let's see how he makes it into pit road here. These guys are coming a little sooner than I thought they would. I do think I'm going to see maybe Boyd Hogan riding it out a little bit more. There he comes in now. Here comes Wayne Grossi in his 7 pit road. Pit road is a very busy avenue right now as Wayne gets to his 7 stall there. Nice stop. No parallel parking for Wayne Grossi. He takes 4 tires and moves on. Clifton Cockrell's back on pit road. Getting him some service there. And we've got Jack Durham. Remember we talked about Jack, our newcomer. He sat back there in the back of the field in 23rd position. Now he is up into the 7th position. However, look at this field. There are only 5 cars presently on the lead lap. 5 cars, which could mean that, well, no, it's only 5 cars because Jack Durham has not pitted. John Mullins, who is in 8th, has already pitted. Now, Jack, some way, somehow, the leaders must have gotten past him, as Boyd Hogan got past Dalton Collins, and so did James Mullins for 2nd and 3rd. So Boyd Hogan is going to pick it up here a little bit, thinking to himself, I've saved enough. I'm going to come up here and battle with you, Chris. And there's 2.5 seconds between Boyd Hogan and Christopher Hill. I don't know what happened in that race lead to cause that, but that's a huge leap. But I do think we're going to see Chris Hill. Chris Hill is on pit road. He's not going to take it to lap 100. Now it's interesting. Folks, let's watch and see what Boyd Hogan, James Mullins, and David Gervais do. They're on 63, 64 lap tires. Okay, let's see when they pit. Let's watch James Mullins, who is roughly about 1.5 seconds behind Boyd Hogan. And let's watch our race leader, Boyd Hogan, and see what he does. As 3rd place comes off on 3rd place would be Christopher Hill, but I think he's going to lose a little bit of positions here in that 78 machine. So James Mullins, Boyd Hogan, and David Gervais, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. They haven't pitted. They're on 65 lap tires. Everybody else has got freshies underneath them. Oldest behind them would be 16 with John Mullins. He's got 16 laps on his tires. Everybody else has less than 16 laps. So let's see when James Mullins and Boyd Hogan decide they want to come on in. Look at that 78 machine. Boy, he just comes flying past them like they're just standing still. Now remember, all he has to do, that 78 machine, to get back on the lead lap is he needs to get up there and he needs to pass Boyd Hogan, which he's going to do right in about 1 second. He's going to shoot past this leader, Boyd Hogan, like he's going in reverse. He's going to take it to the high side. Now, right now, Christopher Hill is back on the lead lap. So he is the last car on the lead lap in 5th position. Or last car on the lead lap. So Dalton Collins is the 1st car lap down in the 95 machine as he just comes past Boyd Hogan to get back on the lead lap. John Mullins is 2nd. Is that 64 machine on them older tires. Remember, he's got 18 laps on those tires. Okay, Larry Reed's got 14 laps in that 20 position. He's trying to get up there and he's trying to get in front of David Gervais, but he's got a long road ahead of him, about 5 seconds. So now we've kind of scattered the field together. There's a gap of roughly about 28 seconds between Boyd Hogan and James Mullins. Now James Mullins is on pit road at lap 100. So now Boyd Hogan's coming down pit road as well. So this is going to stir stuff up. Now we're going to start seeing these guys, some of these guys that are lap down, they're coming back and they're going to get their lap back. As we watch how Larry Reed should have the race lead. I think David Gervais is coming down pit road as we speak as well. And it should relinquish the lead to the 20 machine of Larry Reed. Now let's pay attention and watch. Right now, Larry Reed has got roughly about 1 second gap between him and his 78 machine, which now that gap is gone. 78 machine came past him like he was standing still. So now I believe once we cycle through, we're going to see our race leader is going to be Christopher Hill. And I'm going to say that Christopher Hill's probably going to have about 1 second gap between him and 2nd place Dalton Collins again. This is going to put Boyd Hogan and James Mullins roughly about 11 seconds behind the leader. Now remember, on those fresh tires, let's pay attention to lap times. Last time by, Christopher Hill ran a 31.443, and Boyd Hogan is, once he comes across the line, Boyd Hogan is going to run a, I'm watching here, guys, bear with me. Well, he's running a 31.1, so he's 0.4 faster. It takes roughly about 30 seconds to get around this track. 30 and a half. So if he's consistently stays 4/10 of a second faster, it's going to take him roughly to the end of this race to get up there, you know, because he is still 12 seconds behind. Christopher Hill in that 78 machine has a comfortable 1.5 gap between him and second place Dalton Collins. Larry Reed is still about 6 seconds ahead of Boyd Hogan. And I'm watching, I don't know what I'm hearing, but I'm hearing it sounds like Christopher Hill he's kind of backing off on his throttle a lot more than he has in the past. I don't know if this is a tire preservation mode for him or not, or if he's trying to wait for Dalton Collins to get up to him to help give him a little bit of a drafting help. But if he keeps on doing that, he's going to see that 81 machine and that 6 machine, and quite possibly the 21 machine, in his rearview mirror, and that's not what he wants to see at this point. It looks like David Gervais. Did David Gervais come back on pit road? Yeah, David Gervais did come down. He came back down pit road again. Yeah, I got a copy. Who I got? Kenny Powell with me? Kenny Powell, you call it a day on that? It looks like you had a rough start there, my friend.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate rough start.
It happens. It's happening. Are you able to watch a screen and catch all the action I'm watching right here?
Yeah, I thought I might step into the booth with you and give a little call.
Well,
help
folks,
you out, save your voice.
We have the 24 machine of Kenny Powell, who's going to come up here with us and chat with us for a while. Fortunate for us, he's going to let his car sit on pit road and gain some dust. So welcome, Kenny Powell.
Appreciate it, Al.
So tell us what the track was like tonight, Kenny. I mean, obviously you couldn't experience it like you probably would have if we had other drivers that had, you know, more skill or even maybe a better setup. Let's put it that way. I don't want to say more skill because we have a field full of good drivers.
Yeah, I think the track was it was pretty grippy tonight. I think it was a touch bit cooler than some of the A Opens that a lot of the drivers had probably raced this week. So it definitely probably had a little bit more traction than some of the other races. And, you know, I expected we were going to see a lot of close racing, some fast racing, because I think the speeds would be up, you know, just a touch also. And I haven't seen it from the seat you've been in, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of action you had up front. But looks like we have a good race shaping up between Christopher Hill, Dalton Collins, Boyd, and James.
Yeah, we certainly do, and it's impressive. We have some newcomers that have kind of stayed out of trouble, but we only have 13 cars on the lead lap. But in order for Boyd Hogan to get up there and make his move, which he's already gained 3 seconds in roughly about 5 laps. So I think those freshies he's got underneath there, he's about 5 laps fresher tires than the leader Christopher Hill and Dalton Collins in second. So
yeah, that's what I
think he's
see
got a
also
great
there.
opportunity. Let's you're a driver, Kenny. Let's get a driver's perspective. I'm going to go in-car camera let's go in-car camera with. Let's see who's battling here. Let's go in-car camera with James Mullins. And you kind of tell me, you know, what James is going through here, because this is your point of view. You just got out of this race. We see a lot of back and forth, left to right. And it looks like he's struggling with the wheel coming around this turn right here.
Yeah, so going into that turn there, right there, you're coming off, well, I'll start here, going into turn 1. You pass start finish here, going into turn 1. You're going to get off a little early here, go from high lane down to low. But as you make that turn to the low side, you're going to get a little bit light in the rear, a little loose. And you want to get down to that first seam down there. if you get down into that gray area down there, you're even going to get a little bit looser and probably scrub some of your tires off. So what they want to do is go from that wall right down to that bottom seam, and just be careful to not slide your tires too much going in, and be careful getting on the throttle on your way out there as well, or you might let loose at the rear end there.
So we're watching James Mullins in his 6 machine right now, and you can kind of see his RPMs are dropping. So he's letting off the gas. What is that giving his car the ability to do?
Well, when he's off of the throttle there, he's using some of the engine to slow himself down. I doubt he's using the brake. Maybe at the end of the run, you start using the brake, but at this point, when you go into the turn, most likely the drivers are just pulling off the throttle there and letting some of those engine RPMs slow that car down.
Okay, yeah, because we were I kind of imagined that, and I just wanted to plant the car. I called it planting the car, planting the front end so the front end sticks a little bit so you can make it around that turn. That's how I was explaining it to our viewers.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly right. You can't take these turns full speed, or you'll find yourself in that wall there. So you do have to lift, and as that car's winding down, you find a nice little sweet spot down here at that bottom seam there. And I believe the track is slightly banked differently in the bottom of the turn there than up at the top there. So they can get a little bit more traction down there in the bottom half of that lane.
Well, our track has cooled off about roughly 2 degrees from when we started out, and it's got a little cooler outside as well. We almost look like we're getting into a little bit of darkness too. Does that take any effects on how this car handles?
Yeah, as we get into the evening and it cools off some, you'll probably get a little bit more traction. But as the track gets a little more traction, you're also wearing your tires out. So we're coming towards the end of this race here. So they're gotten their tires worn out a little bit. So it's probably a little give and take where the track's getting a little more traction, but the tires are giving up. So, they just have to manage that.
I'm glad. I'm not glad you're out of the race, but I'm glad I got an opportunity to talk to you because you are the founder and the president of iRacing Stock Car Association. And I'd like to take a quick couple of seconds of your time and kind of let our viewers who are watching, who may want to, maybe they're thinking to themselves, hey, I'd like to run this league next year. Can you kind of give us a little bit about how they can do that?
Sure. We've got an internet presence. We're at iRacingStockCarAssociation.com. You can check our website out. All our information is there. We do have spaces left. I think the field tonight's only 29. I do look to field a full field of 43 drivers, so we do have some space there. So check our website out. It'll tell you how to apply for our league, and any driver in iRacing with the A license is in 2000 I rating or above is eligible to join, and we'd like to have you.
Well, great deal. Hopefully we have some viewers out there that are watching that I'll be seeing their name on this starting grid next season. I'd like to see some fresh meat out here, give these boys some competition. We do have a great amount of return racers year after year, season after season. We've got, how many races we got left in this season so far this year, Kenny?
After tonight's race, we're going to have 3 more.
What tracks are we going to here in the upcoming weeks?
I know we're going to do Nashville next week. I think I may have just misspoke. We do have 3 more. We've got Nashville coming up, Chicagoland. One of those weeks is going to be a break for Thanksgiving, and then we're going to come back and round out our season at Richmond.
At Richmond. So is this going to be our last 1.5 mile track for the season?
I think we got that Chicagoland coming.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chicagoland is up in that, close to that. I'm sure it's not a small track. Nashville Fairgrounds. That's a track that's new to iRacing that not many of us have experience on. I personally had some personal experience on that track. So in the real world, I'm used to it. But in this setup on iRacing, it's a whole different animal. So I can't wait to get on that track.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Nashville also. And actually, I have to correct myself. I was wrong. We are wrapping this thing up. We got Nashville, and then it is their Thanksgiving holiday weekend or holiday off, and then Richmond. So yeah, this is the last mile and a half for the season here. But yeah, talking about Nashville, that's going to be an exciting new event that we're going to go to. I've personally never been there. I own the track, but I need to put a lot more time in it. And it'll be great to see all these drivers, go to Nashville, because it'll be new to most of them as well.
Yeah, most viewers watching this, probably they might not be old enough to remember when NASCAR ran at the Nashville Fairgrounds. And you'll be amazed when you see the size of this track that you're getting roughly 30 cars on that track. It's a pretty eventful thing to watch. You do not want to miss that race. I perceive there's going to be a whole lot of bumping and rubbing and wrecking on that track coming next week. So it's going to be one to make certain you do not miss next week. No matter what happens, cancel the date with your wife, cancel the date with the girlfriend, because next week you do not want to miss that race.
I do agree. It's going to be an action-packed. Of course, it's short tracks are always fun, and that's exactly what I expect to see there.
Well, speaking of action-packed, we've got the 81 machine of Boyd Hogging all the wins. Hogan has moved himself up into the second place, and he is on the mad hunt for first place, Christopher Hill. And we've got roughly about 10 laps left in this race. He is 1.5 seconds behind the leader.
Yes, he is definitely cutting into that lead. I'm sure he has his sights set on that lead from Christopher Hill, and he's on the move. He is the fastest car on the track right now.
He absolutely is. And this is what I've been telling our viewers as they've been watching the race. Boyd is playing possum. He's like Jaws. He's just back there waiting, and then he's going to grab. Now that's not taken out of. We have Dalton Collins, and we also could have a caution. I mean, we got 10 laps to go. We've seen it before, and every racing platform you watch, it could be a caution on these late laps.
Yeah, that's always true. And the leader sitting in Chris's seat never wants to see that happen. But it's always a possibility.
Well, the only thing Chris has to do right now is pay attention in front of him. If he focuses on what's behind him, I've made the mistake of doing that, and I've caught the wall because I wasn't paying attention in front of me, more about what's behind me, and pretty much ruined the race for myself.
I've done the same thing. I tell you, when it gets to this point in the race, you turn that mirror off, or just don't look at it. Just focus on the job at hand. Make sure you hit your marks and do exactly what you need to do, and make the person trying to catch you make the mistakes.
Right, because if you're right now, the pressure on Christopher Hill is this. He realizes that not even a second behind him is Boyd Hogan, and Boyd Hogan is on 4-lap fresher tires, and he's thinking to himself, he is catching me roughly about 1/10 to 2/10 every lap, which means if I do the math right, they'll be racing side by side across the green or the checkered flag here, and we're going to be seeing that checkered flag in roughly about 5 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a nail biter. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen when Boyd catches up to Chris here.
Well, let's take an in-car ride with Boyd, and let's watch how he slowly creeps in on Christopher Hill. Let's go in-car cockpit with Boyd Hogan in the 81 machine. And you do believe right in front of Boyd Hogan is that 78 machine of Christopher Hill. And you can see how...
You can see up above Chris, there's some lap traffic that's going to come into play here before the end of the race, too.
Yeah, most of the race, the lap cars have been pretty courteous and been moving out of the way. But that's... I don't think the lap traffic is going to affect Boyd Hogan's ability to catch him, because as you can see, he's creeping up about 1/10 of a second every turn.
Yeah, he's cut that lead to 1/2 second now.
Yeah, and that's in 2 laps. So 1/2 second in 2 laps. We've got roughly about 4 laps left. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if Christopher Hill doesn't find that gas pedal and find the right groove, or possibly even get up in front of these lap cars and maybe use those to his advantage, he's probably stands a great chance of Boyd Hogan catching and passing him for the lead and the race win.
But let's not give Boyd all the credit. I know Chris has run up front, and he knows how to run up front. So I'm sure he knows what he's doing up there. So
he's keeping that half a second. Yeah, he's got to keep his half a second. And Boyd I think Boyd's pushing a little bit more than he was before, because he's seesawing at that wheel a little bit. But he's still keeping that consistent half a second. If he can keep that half a second, Christopher Hill will lock this one into the bag.
As you see, each turn, Boyd goes in, gets a little high, or starts a little higher, gets a little lower, and gets a little bit better run off the exit of the turn there.
But I don't know if he's got enough time. We're going to get the, let's see, we're coming across at 33. We're going to get the white flag coming up here.
Ooh, 1 lap to go.
Yeah. So unless Boyd puts the pedal on this thing.
Yeah, let's see what happens here.
Here comes some lap traffic. This is what really
drives it in deep.
Yeah.
He's on the gas
boy,
soon.
getting a little squirrely.
Is he having enough? I don't think he has enough here, Al.
I don't think he's going to. I think Christopher Hill, if he does it perfect, he's going to win this race.
Now we got one more.
This.
That was
this last
this is the white flag lap here.
Yeah, I don't think Boyd pushes it up too far. I think that's going to destroy it for Boyd's chances. I think Christopher Hill had a smooth line there.
Yep. Chris didn't let Boyd bother him.
No, he's racing on the front. He's not worried about the back. But look at Boyd.
Here we go. Boyd made the move. He's on the inside. He's sliding up.
He's going to hit him. He hits him.
Oh, no.
And
we got an accident.
Both of them.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Both of them. Oh, no.
Oh, what is happening?
Oh, the end of the race. That pretty much, you watch it. If we stayed on in-car camera, you watch how Boyd just drove it in there. And that gives an opportunity for Christopher Hill to still, it looks like Chris still won the race.
Chris Hill backed across the start-finish line to win that race here, boys. What a finish.
That replay is something to watch right there. He took that thing. They got bumper to bumper, hitting and banging off each other. And Christopher Hill still comes across the backwards and ends up winning this thing.
That's going to be some conversation in the garage right there.
That is a great replay. We watch as Boyd drives it in and he pushes it. That's what we've been talking about all race. And he catches Boyd Hogan, and Boyd Hogan comes down, and he gets right in front of him, and it looks like we're spinning. Now, how in the world, he gets it in reverse right there, Kenny. He puts it in reverse.
Yeah, that's what I saw. He put it in reverse. I said he backed across the start-finish line.
Put it in reverse, Jerry. Put it in reverse, and he does. He comes across the line backwards. That is the first time I've really ever seen a driver finish the start-finish of a race or come across the checkered flag backwards.
Yeah, I don't know. I've probably slid across the start-finish line backwards, but I don't think I've ever put it in reverse to win one.
This is going to be a very interesting conversation. We have the 78 machine of Christopher Hill coming across the start-finish line backwards to win the race. 95 machine of Dalton Collins coming in second. James Mullins in the 6th for third. Boyd Hogan in the 81 for fourth. Larry Reed in the 20 for fifth. Tyler Pluff comes in 6th. Mark Love 7th. Christopher Johnson 8th. Wayne Grassi 9th. And the last count on lead lap is Jarden Profit in the 65 machine coming in 10th. 11th, Cecil Keith. 12th, Ron Hollyfield. 13th, Jack Durham. 14th is going to be, that is Michael Doyle. 15th is James Culabali. 16th, Paul Olson. 17th, John Mullins 2nd. 18th, Michael Eames. 19th, Clifton Cockrell. 20th, David Gervais. 21st, Kenny Powell. 22nd, Michael Knight. 23rd, Rob Pendleton. 24th, Justin Levine. 25th, Craig Johnson, 26th, Tanner Love, 27th, Jeffrey Smith, 28th, Curtis Sawyer, and that rounds out the race for tonight. Boys and girls, right to the end, there it was. We're going to get a chance to talk to Christopher Hill, Mr. Backwards, in a moment here. Let's give him a chance to get out of his car, and hopefully he's not going over to have a conversation with Boyd. And we'll get a chance to talk to Christopher Hill, Dalton Collins, and James Mullins and get their point of view of this race.
All right, let's see if we can get James Mullins in here first.
And for stay with us, Kenny. We'll interview this together. We'll talk to, see if we can get a hold of James Mullins. James Mullins in the 6 machine. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
James, did you get an opportunity to see what we seen?
Replay, it's a little crazy.
I have never. I've been watching racing for more than a day or two here now. I've been broadcasting for a couple of days. I've never seen a race end where the race winner went across the checkered flag backwards on his own power. Not just wrecked going backwards. He had to put it in reverse.
Well, it is, I just regret hitting the damn barrels on the entry. I believe I could have stole that one from old Chris.
It kind of looked like Boyd Hogan just drove it in there and power drove Chris. I mean, just power drove him. And then Chris said, you know what? Damn it, I'm not going to let you get that one from me. So Chris just held on to it, and it was the best ending to a race I have seen in a long time. That doesn't give anything away to that third place you pulled off there, James. How was the racing for you tonight?
I just got lucky. I was a 4th place car. They just way better than I was, but I messed up on the entry to pit road and hit the barrels. Cost myself a lot of time. So
I know I've done it myself, James. What about our sponsors? We want to thank anybody for giving you the inability to be able to turn to avoid them barrels.
And Rock Racing Setups. I appreciate everybody over there and everybody, put work in on the setups and stuff. Appreciate you guys as well. Chris, Dalton, all them guys for Race McLean. It's a fun race.
They did great. You guys did tremendous. I appreciate you coming on, putting on one exciting show for me tonight. I had a front row seat. I'm kind of glad I wasn't in the passenger seat of Boyd Hogan and Christopher Hill, but I had a front row. Congratulations, James, on the 3rd place finish. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mr. Dalton Collins. Mr. Dalton Collins in that 95 machine. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dalton, you probably had a more up front row seat to the action that took place at the end of this race than most of the other drivers besides the people that were involved. What do you see happened?
I mean, I really couldn't see much, actually, at the end there. I was rim riding at times, battling with Chris there, and really was just up and down for me, really, from the cockpit, and just driving hard. And I think at the end there, I just burnt my stuff up. Made a mistake on pit road there, and cost me some time to Chris. I just drove too hard, I think, trying to get to him, and just burnt my stuff up, and it cost me. But yeah, coming off of 4, I thought I had it, and right when I got to the line, I could see Chris barely across it, and yeah, just close to getting 2 in a row, but not quite.
Well, Dalton, you got beat by somebody who passed the start finish line going backward on his own power.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
That was the fastest
yeah.
reverse I've seen ever.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I've seen some crazy finishes, but that right there, that was some Carl Ober's Jimmy Johnson, and I think 08 Kansas here. So that was crazy stuff.
That was pretty good, Dalton, but that doesn't take anything away from your amazing driving ability and style tonight and your courtesy to the rest of your drivers. Congratulations on that 2nd place finish. You have any sponsors you want to give a shout out to real quick?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Reaper SpeedLab, Boyd Hogan, Christopher Hill, who's won this race tonight, and just really everybody that helps out on these cars, from setups to helping out with getting better on the track and so forth. So just really appreciate those guys. Reaper SpeedLab, Legacy Esports. Big shout out to Boyd Hogan's grandmother. Actually, she's from what I found out, she is one of the biggest supporters for Reaper SpeedLab, Jennifer, I believe. So shout out to her if she's watching. Hopefully it was a really good finish. Hopefully me and Chris put on a hell of a show to the finish there, and Boyd kind of stole the spotlight from me. So so it's a hell of a finish, hell of a race, and glad to be a part of it.
Well, great. There you go, folks. Reaper Speed Lab. That's a 2nd driver tonight that's been running them. Boyd Hogan. He came in fourth, or what we might have just been told by Dalton, it might have been Boyd's grandmother who was behind the wheel of this race car tonight. So unless we get proof, we don't know. I appreciate you, Dalton. You have a wonderful evening, and congratulations on your second place. Let's see if I can get a hold of Mr. Fastest to Reverse, Christopher Hill. Christopher Hill, you got a copy?
I got you.
Christopher, tell me, I mean, did you just set a land speed record for going from fourth to reverse?
Yeah, I was actually worried I was gonna blow the motor or break the transmission because I put it in reverse and floored it instantly. So it could have been real bad, but it was a hell of a finish.
You know, when you did that, there was a video going out around. I don't know if you ever seen that video of a guy with some fireworks, and he was in a wheelchair, put it in reverse. Jerry, you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking, put it in reverse, Chris, and you sure in the hell did. You put her in reverse. It came across the start-finish line. Tell me, just please tell me, that's the first time you have ever won a race backwards.
It is. I can assure you that was probably the wildest finish I've ever had on iRace.
Bucket list accomplished. So even though you got in a little altercation, it clearly looks like Boyd's grandmother drove right into you and caused you to spin out, but you didn't give up. I mean, you sat there and you mustered through and you thought, you know, fast on my feet, put her in reverse, and you won the race.
Boyd told me halfway down the back, he said this is going to be a wild finish, and it was.
So he was kind of warning you that his grandmother was going to drive in that hard, didn't he?
Yeah, I fully expected it, but I mean, it's for the win, man. It was all for a trophy.
You know what? Hey, even though he did that, and I kind of thought, I've never seen anybody do something crappy like that. That was probably the best finish of all season. I'm giving that the 100% thumbs up. That was some tremendous racing and some fast footwork and shifting on your part. Congratulations to the race win tonight, brother. You got any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, shout out to Reaper Speed Labs and everybody on Legacy who takes part in building these things. Thanks to Boyd. Thanks for you all for broadcasting and putting on the show.
Well, there you go, folks. We have our race winner, our second place, and Boyd Hogan's grandmother. We're all racing. ReaperSpeedLab.com, our race sponsor tonight. So if you want to be able to be in a championship car like this, I cannot tell you that you're going to be able to win as in a stylish fashion as Christopher did. But I will tell you, you will be able to go as fast as if you get on that Reaper Speed Lab and get a hold of one of their setups. Well, congratulations once again, Chris, and thanks for the entertainment. And we look forward to seeing you next week at Nashville.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, buddy. And that concludes our race tonight. What an exciting finish. Thank you, Kenny Powell, for coming on in here and keeping me company for the last 25, 30 laps.
Yes, sir.
And you had a front row seat. See, you couldn't have had the view I had sitting in that race car unless you were up there. So that was well worth parking that car and coming up here.
I always do watch these races afterwards, and so yeah, it was enjoyable to watch it from the broadcast booth this time too.
Folks, I appreciate you. Stay tuned next week. We're going to be at Nashville Fairgrounds, which is going to be a race you don't want to miss. I'm Al Kozlowski. My co-pilot tonight for a little bit was Kenny Powell in the 24 machine, calling you from the Homestead Miami Speedway, and race is over. Congratulations, Christopher Hill. Until we see you next week, good night.